Hey, it's Vas here from Metro Hobbies, and today we're going to be looking at another Losi car. This is the Tenacity DB Pro. Now stay tuned because there's quite a bit to unpack in this one. Alright, so when you get everything out of the box, this is what you will see. You'll get the car fully assembled and ready to go. You get the radio, of course, you get a bag of goodies, and you also get batteries for the radio, which come sticky taped to the side of the box on the actual radio, or the radio actually comes inside there. Now, we'll get to the car in the radio a little bit later on, but for now, let's talk about some of the contents in the bag. Now, I haven't opened the bag, but in here, you'll have a couple of stickers that you can use to decorate the car or stick them on your radio or whatever. You have a little plastic tool as well to help take the wheels off the car. There's some spaces in here for the battery tray. Now, this is important because in order to run a 3-cell hard case pack in here, because the 3 cells are a little bit thicker, you will need those spaces in order to fit the batteries in the car. There's also some Allen keys in here, and there's also a pinion, a spare pinion. Now, this pinion is actually recommended for when you want to run 3S off-road. Now, you can run the stock pinion if you're just going to do like some speed runs, but you do need to keep a close eye on motor temperatures and things like that, because they do say in the manual that if you do run the stock pinion, which is a little bit bigger, with a 3-cell LiPo, you can potentially harm the electrics. So just keep that in mind. It is pretty clear in the manual where they actually state this. So just be careful there. If you are going to be running this guy off-road on 3-cell, highly recommend you change out the pinion just to be safe. The manual, of course, is an actual physical copy of the manual, which is really good. You've got all the part numbers and everything that you need in there, but of course you can go onto the Horizon Hobby website if you wish, and have a look at the digital copy of the manual there as well. They've got exploded views and all sorts of things on there, and then of course you can check out your part numbers. So we'll put that away, and let's talk about the radio itself. This is the DX2E. It's actually not a bad radio. It does feel a little bit plasticky and everything else, but it does run on only 4 AA's. And a really cool feature with this radio and this car is that it does come with a telemetry AVC receiver. So what that means is AVC stands for active vehicle control, which means that it's like a gyro. And the gyro works both with the throttle as well as the steering. So it actually plays a bit of a part, kind of like a traction control, as well as trying to keep the car nice and straight on loose surfaces. So you can actually adjust this on this little dial right here, and you can turn it all the way down to 0, so you have full control of the car, or you can turn it up as much as you want to allow the car to kind of take over a little bit for those of you out there who might be a little bit new to the hobby. The trigger is actually not too bad. The wheel actually feels pretty good, although it is just plastic. You have your usual throttle and steering trims just on the back here. You got a bind button here in case you need to rebind to the receiver. On and off switch just over here. You have I believe these are the reverse switches just at the back. And then the ones at the top, you have a throttle limiter switch up here. And then there is an auxiliary switch, which is not in use at the moment, which is the one at the very top here. This does have also a cover on the back for a Bluetooth module, which you can remove and then install a Bluetooth module in here to work with an app on the phone, but I don't believe that that's actually available at this stage. In any case, very comprehensive radio, really well featured, no collapsible antennas or anything like that, and it actually works quite well with these cars. Okay, so now for the main event, the car itself. And these are absolutely gorgeous. They're finished really, really nice. I really like the Lucas Oil version. I've actually got one of these myself. There's also a Fox version, which is like in a black, looks real stealthy, very, very nice cars. They also have an LED light right here on the front, which is incredibly bright. You'll be surprised how bright this actually is. There's no LEDs on the back or anything like that. You got a nice little bumper on the front here. The rear of the car, whoops, nearly dropped it. The rear of the car has got a little bit of a cage here as well, so if you do pop wheelies or anything like that, it actually has a little bit of protection back there for the spoiler. And then, of course, to open the car, you might be thinking, well, this has got an XO cage. It might be really complicated to get into the car. It's actually not. There's 2 body pins here, which actually have these little tethers so that you don't actually lose the body pins, which is a really good idea. A lot of companies are doing this nowadays. And you basically just pull these guys out of here and you lift this up and you have full access to all your electrics and everything else in there. So you can see that that's how you can change your batteries and do whatever it is that you need to do. So the LED light, you can see, has a little wire that runs all the way down the back here. So you don't have any of that in the way. Wire management from the factory has actually been really, really good. Losi's done a fantastic job in keeping all the cables and the wires all out of the way, which is great. So yeah, it's really clean, very well set up little car. So let's go through some of the features of this guy. As you know, we'll try to get through this as quickly as possible. Now, first and foremost, the tires on these. Having used this car myself, I can say that these tires are actually fantastic. They grip very, very nicely. Really nice soft rubber compound. Of course, if you're going to be running this on road a lot of the time, burning around, you know, car parks and so forth, you might find that you'll get through these tires fairly quickly. But for off-road bashing, you know, going down the local park, maybe a BMX track, wherever, these are fantastic. They work really, really well. I've got no complaints on the tires. I will say one little hot tip though. When you do get one of these, if you don't already have some, get yourself some tire glue, because I did notice on mine that the tires did start to come off the rim after my first run. So yeah, I did have a couple of tires that I need to have to re-glue. So little hot tip there, make sure you get yourself some tire glue for these things in case they actually start to come off. Suspension wise, if you don't already know, Losi have won many championships around the world. They are known for being, you know, in the racing arena and being a very big threat in the racing arena in pretty much any category that they enter into. So they know what they're doing when it comes to tuning a car and setting up suspension, and this particular model is no exception. The handling of this car is absolutely sublime. I love the way that this car drives out of the box. I had to do like zero tuning to the suspension. Losi nailed it 100%. Absolutely fantastic. These cars handle amazing. Whether you're new to the hobby or a veteran, I think you'll appreciate to have a ready-to-run come out of the box and handle the way that it does. Absolutely fantastic. You won't be disappointed. So the shocks themselves are actually an aluminium bodied, threaded bodied shock. So they're I think a 12 millimeter from memory. And they have these little threaded collars on there so you can actually adjust the spring tension on there very, very easily. You can do that quite simply. You have adjustable turnbuckles and camber links front and rear. So fully adjustable, which is really, really nice. You have front and rear sway bars. So they're already pre-mounted and ready to go out of the box. I believe that they have CVDs in the front, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so you got CVDs in the front here. So the drive shafts are actually linked, and then on the back you have your standard dog bones. Or do they have? No, they have CVDs in the rear as well. I beg your pardon. I forgot that they actually have CVDs in the rear. So you don't usually see that. CVDs are usually on the front, and then you have standard dog bones in the rear. They've gone CVDs all the way around. Steering servo on this guy, right here at the front. It's mounted right on top. Look, for most ready-to-runs, the steering servo will do the job, will be fine. Losi, unfortunately, didn't go to town on the steering servo on this guy. It will be fine, but if you do want some more precise steering, I highly recommend you change that out. The receiver, as you can see, is right there. So this is your AVC receiver. Now, of course, you can see that that's fully exposed. It's not in a receiver box or anything like that. So avoid splashing this through water. The receiver is not waterproof. If you are, getting through some wet grass or some puddles and water gets in there, you're likely going to fry that receiver. So just keep that in mind. The ESC is 130 amp firmer ESC, which is on this side right here, and it comes with IC5 connectors. These, of course, are backwards compatible with the EC5 connectors, so you won't have an issue there. And then, of course, you've got your battery tray here. Now, the battery tray is set up out of the box to run on a 2-cell LiPo. So it has its height adjusted set to a standard hard case 2S. But then, of course, as I said, they give you the spaces so that you can actually install a 3S LiPo hard case and it will hold in there, no problems at all. Of course, if you then decide to run back to 2S, you'll either need to pack it up with some foam or take those spaces out so that you run on 2S. Wire management, again, going through the top deck, which runs all the way from front to back here. And you've got your motor at the back, which is a 3660 3150 kV So this one might be a little bit tricky to get in frame there, but yeah, this is actually a really nice motor. It does run a little bit warm, so keep an eye on temperatures for this car. It does run a little bit warm, especially if you're really giving it a bit of a pounding, but plenty of power and a lot of speed. This is a very fast vehicle, and like I said, it handles fantastic. The chassis, as we quickly flip this guy on its side here, you can see full aluminium chassis, very nice, very clean. This actually has held up very well in my hands. I took this down to the BMX track and yeah, no problems at all. Did very well. Shock towers as well. It's a 5mm thick at the back and a 4mm thick at the front, and these are full aluminium shock towers as well. So we'll get you some close-ups of those a bit later on. And that's pretty much it. The car drives amazing. The Losi Tenacity DB Pro is one of the nicest cars that you are going to find out there. It has this exo cage kind of look. It's got LED lights. It's got AVC. It comes with batteries for the radio, which you don't see a lot of ready-to-run vehicles come with. It's a small thing, but it's a nice little touch, I think, and Losi have actually done a pretty good job. Very nice car. Comes in 2 color schemes and is available now. And there we have it. That's our unboxing of the Losi Tenacity DB Pro. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to hit that thumbs up button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, of course, if you are new, and check out the video description. We'll have links in there to the car and all the relevant products for it. That's it from me. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll be speaking to you all next time. All right, good.